I want to ask y'all about the Carlin doc, man, because I watched George Carlin doc this weekend on HBO Max. First of all, I didn't know. Yeah, I always hear people mention George Carlin. I wasn't into George Carlin. Fucking brilliant. I don't see anybody doing that now.
Carlin?
I don't see anybody doing what Carlin's doing.
It's a doing, bro. Very specific thing what he's doing, man. Yeah. I love the 90s specials. I know a lot of people didn't love him as much because they got real dark. But I thought what he was tapping into there was like, I thought it was like right up there with rock specials, which are some of the best of all time at that same exact time.
Praise, bro.
I remember it was like, kind of at the same time. I wish people revisit it as often as, they talk about Pryor's and Chappelle's and all that stuff, but it's right up there, man.
Rock is the closest to Carlin.
I think so too.
And it's
you put Carlin over Rock?
I mean, I relate to Rock more because he's black.
And
you know what I mean?
Carlin's white. And
but I just think he's the closest to a Carlin.
The basics, guys.
Huh? What did you say? Yeah, we ironed out the basics. You're right.
Real investigative journalism here.
I put Rock,
but I'm a who came first person. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think there is a Rock without a Carlin. It's like yesterday when Ryan Clark posted, Chris Brown's more talented than Michael Jackson. How do you even come to that conclusion? And then everybody starts talking about, because Chris does graffiti and I'm like, what talking about music and dancing?
Graffiti.
I mean, we're not talking about anything else. We're talking about music and dancing. Yeah. Like Tank said, because he does graffiti and he draws. And I'm like, what are we talking about? I thought we were talking about music and dancing. So to me, Carlin came first. And man, I'm telling you, after watching that doc, I was like, wow. It had me think about something else too, right? I don't know if a black comic can make the observations George Carlin makes, because he's got like a bird's eye view of the world, and he's not in these groups that he might be discussing. He's able to just sit back and like look at it.
I don't think that's fair though. I think you got to think of it like Carlin was like a 70-year-old genius comedian. I hate saying the word genius in comedy person, but he's actually that. You know what I mean? A genius, 70, probably doing comedy, 55 years or something, whatever. He's at a level where nobody's doing that. I definitely think when Chappelle's 70 or if Patrice made it to 70 or, you know what I mean? It's true. Motherfuckers, when they get to 70, they may have that type of self-awareness and reflection, and that wealth of knowledge. Or Dick Gregory, you see Dick Gregory?
Oh, definitely Dick Gregory.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Well, damn. I would love to see what Cosby's up to now.
Really?
I'm sure Cosby's
he never was tapped in social, as far as socially, though. Like, so
I bet he's got a different perspective now. One thing you won't hear him say is, what else? He's definitely got a lot to talk about right now.
You think life showed him something?
Oh, sure.
But no, it's like, Carlin was so socially conscious, and it's weird, right? Because I look at all the comedians out now, with all of this shit going on in the world, they're not talking about the stuff that Carlin was talking about. People are using Carlin's old stuff to talk about what's going on now.
Yeah. Like what, for example?
Oh, I mean, everything political. Like literally everything from political, from abortion to voting, right? Racism, all of that type of stuff. I think people address it in certain, like you do it in a TV show a lot. That's what I like. I don't know if I necessarily see it on stage from people. I think people express that differently through different mediums now. They might talk about it on podcasts. They might talk about it, when they do their sketches or their
You don't think
shows.
Bird does it?
Yes, I do. Not to the level of Carlin though, but yes, I think he does.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's the unfair company. It's like you talking about.
That's true.
A Michael Jordan of this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like he's on a very, very short list. There's a Mount Rushmore. Carlin's on it. But 99% of the comics that's ever, picked up a mic.
Did you watch Louis' last one?
No, I haven't.
I haven't either, and I'm surprised. Like maybe he touched into some of these things. Like, I think you're talking about like very mature thought, and like someone who's like synthesized and digested life. And
I never thought about that. I never thought about the age thing. You're right.
It's important. Like if you talk to old heads that are wise, like everything they say just sounds so profound, right? Yeah. So it's like And then you add the fact that this guy's been doing comedy that long and he's just been like crafting these like bits and ideas.
Yeah,
like,
it also the way Carlin also kind of didn't need an audience the way he started performing. When he started like kind of really, really locking in the late 90s, his shit was damn near spoken word. It was so rhythmic and you could almost listen to it without any of the audience. You know what I'm saying? Like it was damn near a song. I remember even, in those days, they would do these promos where he would just go on these long rants and long runs from the special. And that was the promo for the specials. And they were just as enjoyable. Like he was just kind of on a different wave.
I never thought about that. I never factored in the age thing till just now.
Yeah, just life.
I just thought it was about what people cared about.
Nah, he's a G.
So y'all gonna wait until what, 60?
No.
To really start going in?
You're never gonna even know when it happens. It'll probably be appreciated. Look, like you just said, you don't hear that much about Carlin until this documentary.
Yeah.
Even. So sometimes people gotta catch up to it. It might be happening, you don't even know it. Or it might be happening and we don't know it. You know what I'm saying? Like people catch up to it when it's ready.
I think it's got to also reflect like what you care about, like what's going on in your life.
Yeah.
Like it's not your responsibility as a comedian to like reflect to the times. It's your responsibility to reflect on like what you care about.
Yeah, that's like when they tell the rappers like you don't have to rap about things of substance.
And those songs are the worst when they're like, hey, you got to put out a love song. And then you got this like rapper who's rapping about some love shit and like, he don't even give a fuck about that. Right? You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to hear all that. I want to hear what you care about. And the most authentic stuff usually cuts through. At least for me, that's the thing that I care about.
And listen, I don't need it from everybody. You know what I'm saying? But, if you do have that microphone and you are of a certain stature, let's see the wide range of things you can touch on. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, yeah. I do. I agree with that. That's why it frustrates me to see when people don't go past that surface level.
Yes.
That like what do you call it? The excellence of
the upper limit theory.
It is that where you're like,
and you're in this what's it called, the zone of excellence.
Sometimes killing at a level amongst your peers, you never want to risk going past that, and you never develop past that. So it's ugly. There's a lot of ugly duckling years in that process that you kind of gotta, go through. And you feel like as a good comedian, you've already done your part. You've already been not good and got good. So you're not gonna take the risk to be considered not good again, even if it's growing. I think that's part of the reason why, like, people like Dave or Rock, whatever, like they go away. You know what I mean? They go away to work.
Yeah, like. Take some time, reflect, like figure out how your life has changed.
Word.
Like I know this sensation. Like, trust me, I felt it. Like I just came off this crazy tour and the sensation is like, well, keep this ball rolling. And it's like, but that's not how you're going to create the show that people need to feel. Like, I need to go away for maybe it's years, dude. Like, and I need to be in the clubs working, but like processing how I feel about the world. And then the crazy thing about stand-up, and you mentioned all these old dudes, is like Carlin's stand-up at the end wasn't his stand-up in the beginning.
Nowhere near it.
And it took a process to even get, and his stand-up was funny in the beginning.
Yeah, of course.
But like, you also have to go through them new growing pains when you change and start talking about different things you're going through, because you might not have the tools to execute those jokes the way you had the tools to execute the jokes early on.
Yeah, it comes a point where a performer actually catches up with the man. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and like
I don't know if Dave as a performer has caught up with Dave the man yet. Because when you hear Dave talk, it's like
he's the best at talking out loud.
I mean, I'm not saying his comedy's not like that, but when you hear him talk, I like hearing Dave talk more nowadays than I even do hearing the joke sometimes.
No, I like the. I don't know. I like.
I seen him recently, man.
Crazy.
He's on fire.
Oh wow,
he's on fire. Yeah, he unlocked something. I don't know. He's on fire.
Maybe the performer caught up with the man.
I think Dave is just at a point now where he does what he wants. Like he's it's like he reminds me of Prince in that way of like he could do Prince stuff where you may not even be like, I'm not into it.
Yeah.
But then you put him in a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and you're like, oh, this motherfucker is the best guitarist in the world too. Who knew? You know what I mean? Like he's so good that he just does what he wants to do, and you kind of at his mercy. You're like, he's on a different plane, I think.